Ambassador Zixathera stood before the broken remains of the Galactic Council chamber. Her crystal body flickered with dying light as she prepared to send what might be the galaxy's final message. Around her, the few surviving council members watched in silence. Their proud civilizations lay in ruins, consumed by an enemy they could not understand or stop. The Devourers had come from nowhere 18 months ago. They appeared like living shadows that ate everything in their path. Planets, stars, entire solar systems vanished into their endless hunger. The galaxy's greatest weapons barely slowed them down. Advanced shields meant nothing. Powerful armies fell in hours. Zixathera's voice shook as she began the transmission. She had to tell the truth even though it shamed her. 300 years ago, the Council had discovered a young species called humans. They were violent, unpredictable, and dangerous. The Council decided they were too risky to join galactic society. They hid Earth's location and pretended humans did not exist. Now the galaxy was dying, and the Council had no choice left. People of Earth, Zixathera began, her crystal form pulsing with each word. We are the Galactic Council. Long ago we made a terrible mistake. We found your world and decided your people were too dangerous to know about us. We were afraid of what you might become. She paused, watching the holographic display show another star system going dark. The Devourers had taken the Altine homeworld just hours ago. Billions of lives snuffed out like candles in the wind. We were wrong to hide from you. We were wrong to keep you alone. The galaxy burns now and we cannot stop it. These creatures, these Devourers, they consume everything. We have tried for over a year to fight them. Our best scientists cannot understand them. Our strongest warriors cannot hurt them. Admiral Sarah Chen sat in her monitoring station on the edge of Earth's solar system. She had been watching the deep space channels for decades, hoping to find proof that humanity was not alone. When the transmission came through, she nearly fell from her chair. The image showed a being made of living crystal, clearly alien, clearly desperate. Sarah had dreamed of first contact her whole life. She never imagined it would happen like this. We have lost 847 star systems, the alien continued. Entire species are gone forever. The Kethvar who built cities of pure music. The Thornax who could reshape matter with their thoughts. The gentle Weavens who never harmed any living thing. All of them are gone. Sarah felt her heart sink. While humanity had spent centuries alone, wondering if they were the only intelligent life in the universe, an entire galactic civilization had existed just beyond their reach. Now that civilization was being destroyed. We know what you must think of us, Zixathera said. We kept you isolated while we enjoyed the peace you were denied. We feared your violence, your unpredictable nature. We thought we were protecting the galaxy from you. The alien's form flickered and Sarah could see she was crying. The crystal being's tears fell like small diamonds. But now we understand our mistake. The galaxy needed your strength. Your violence was not evil. It was preparation. While we lived in peace, you learned to fight. While we avoided conflict, you mastered war. We see now that you are not our enemy. You are our only hope. Sarah activated her emergency protocol, sending the transmission to Earth's military command. Within minutes, every major leader on the planet would know about this message. Humanity's isolation was about to end. The Devourers come from beyond our dimension, Zixathera explained. They are not alive as we understand life. They are hunger given form, darkness that consumes light itself. Our weapons pass through them. Our shields cannot stop them. They learn from every attack and become stronger. The display showed images of the enemy. Sarah had seen many terrible things in her military career, but nothing like this. The Devourers looked like holes in space, moving shadows that ate everything they touched. They flowed like liquid night across planets, leaving nothing behind. We have perhaps days before they reach the core worlds. The Council itself will fall soon. After that, they will spread to every corner of the galaxy, unless someone can stop them. Sarah watched the alien lean forward, her crystal hands pressed together in what looked like prayer. We know we have no right to ask this of you. We abandoned you when you needed us. We denied you the friendship of the galaxy, but we are asking anyway, because there is nowhere else to turn. Please help us. Please save what we could not save ourselves. The transmission showed more images. Refugee ships fleeing burning worlds. Families separated as they ran from an enemy that could not be reasoned with or stopped. Children who would never see their homes again. We are sending you our location and the coordinates of the nearest refugee camps. We are also sending all our knowledge about the Devourers. It is not much, but it is everything we have learned. We pray it will be enough. Sarah felt tears on her own cheeks as she watched the desperate alien continue. To the humans of Earth, we offer you what we should have offered long ago. If you can help us, if you can save what remains of the galaxy, we will give you anything you ask for. Technology, territory, knowledge, it is all yours. We have kept it from you too long. The alien stood up, her crystal form shining brighter. But even if you want nothing from us, even if you hate us for what we did, please consider helping anyway, not for us, but for the innocent people who are dying, the children who cry for parents who will never come home, the species that will vanish forever if no one saves them. Sarah was already typing her response before the transmission ended. She did not need to wait for orders from Earth. She knew what humanity's answer would be. We know you might refuse, Zixthera said softly. We would understand if you did. We kept you alone for 3 centuries. We denied you the stars while we enjoyed them freely. But if there is any mercy in your hearts, any forgiveness for our terrible mistake, please help us now. The alien's image began to fade as the transmission ended. This is our final message. The council falls today. The devourers are almost here. If you come, you will find us at the coordinates we sent. If you do not come, we will understand. We failed you first. The transmission cut to static. Sarah's fingers flew over her keyboard as she composed humanity's response. She kept it simple, just as the alien's plea had been simple. Galactic Council, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command. We received your message. We understand the situation. Humanity's answer is this. We are coming. She paused, thinking of all the years humanity had wondered if they were alone. Now they knew the truth. They had never been alone. They had been hidden away, kept secret, treated as too dangerous to know the truth. But that did not matter now. What mattered was that people were dying, and humanity had the power to help. Sarah added one more line to her message before sending it. Prepare the galaxy for war. The humans are coming. Within hours, every military base on Earth was mobilizing. Humanity's long isolation was over. The galaxy had called for help, and Earth would answer. The war was about to begin. 3 days after the galaxy's plea for help, Earth's response shook the remaining council members to their cores. What emerged from humanity's hidden worlds was nothing like what they expected. The first human ships appeared without warning at the edge of Vorthak space. They did not use hyperspace lanes like normal vessels. Instead, they simply appeared as if they had stepped through holes in reality itself. The ships were massive, dark things that seemed to bend light around them. Captain Marcus Torres stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, the Hammer of Terra. His body no longer looked entirely human. 3 centuries of genetic enhancement had changed him. His muscles were denser than steel. His bones were harder than diamond. His eyes could see across multiple spectrums of light. Sir, his communications officer said, the Vorthak are requesting permission to board. Marcus nodded. Let them come. It's time they saw what 300 years of isolation created. Ambassador Zixthera materialized on the human ship in a shower of light. She had expected to meet beings similar to the humans in the old council records. Instead, she found herself facing something far more advanced and terrifying. Marcus stood 7 feet tall, his skin bearing metallic traces that caught the light. His crew moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single machine. Their eyes held an intelligence that seemed both human and something else entirely. You called for help, Marcus said simply. Here we are. Zixthera's crystal form flickered nervously. What happened to your people? You look different from the records we have. Marcus smiled, and his teeth were white as pearls but sharp as razors. We evolved. While you enjoyed peace, we learned what war really meant. We changed ourselves to become better at it. He gestured to the walls around them. Zixthera realized they were not looking at metal panels but at living tissue. The ship itself was alive, grown rather than built. This is the Prometheus-class battleship, Marcus explained. It thinks, learns, and heals itself. The weapons are part of its body. The shields are its skin. When it fights like a living creature, not a machine. On Earth, General Diana Reeves was explaining humanity's transformation to a stunned council delegation. The meeting took place in a facility that existed partly underground and partly in folded space. Humans had learned to manipulate dimensions themselves. When you hid us away, Diana said, you thought you were protecting the galaxy from our violence. But violence was never our weakness. It was our strength. She showed them images of the human legion. 200 million volunteers had undergone genetic modification to become living weapons. Their bodies could adapt to any environment in minutes. They could survive in space without suits. They could think faster than computers and heal from wounds that would kill any other species. We spent 3 centuries preparing for a war we hoped would never come. Diana continued. We improved everything. Our bodies, our minds, our technology, our tactics. We became something new. The council members watched in fascination and horror as human soldiers demonstrated their abilities. One Marine walked through a wall of fire without burning. Another lifted a tank over his head with ease. A third moved so fast he was just a blur to normal eyes. These are not machines or robots, Diana explained. These are still humans. They think like humans. They fight like humans, but they are better at it than any human who came before. Back in space, Marcus was showing Zixathara the true scope of humanity's military might. Through the ship's organic viewports, she could see the human Legion fleet. Thousands of ships that defied easy description. Some looked like traditional vessels. Others resembled living creatures. A few appeared to be made of pure energy held in crystalline shells. How many ships do you have? Zixathara asked in wonder. Enough, Marcus replied. We built them in the dark between stars where no one could see. We hollowed out asteroids and turned them into factories. We learned to grow ships like plants and forge them like metal. Every human world contributed something to the war effort. A new voice interrupted them. Captain Torres, we have visual on the enemy. The main display showed a devourer swarm approaching a refugee fleet. The creatures moved like living darkness flowing through space toward the helpless civilian ships. Time to show the galaxy what humans do best, Marcus said. His voice carried over the fleet communications to every ship. All units engage. Show them how Earth's children fight. The battle that followed defied everything the Council thought they knew about warfare. Human ships did not fight in formations or follow predictable patterns. They moved like predators hunting prey. Some ships split apart into smaller vessels that attacked from multiple directions. Others combined together to create massive weapons platforms. The Devourers, which had been unstoppable against every other species, suddenly found themselves facing enemies they could not understand. Human weapons did not simply try to destroy them. Instead, they adapted and changed mid-battle. When the Devourers absorbed energy weapons, the humans switched to physical projectiles. When the creatures learned to deflect those, the humans used weapons that attacked the Devourers' ability to exist in normal space. Every time the enemy adapted, humanity adapted faster. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded a group of smaller ships that moved like a pack of wolves. Her vessels could phase in and out of reality, striking the Devourers from angles that should not have existed. The enemy is trying to learn our attack patterns, she reported to Marcus. They're adapting to our energy signatures. Then change the signatures, Marcus replied. Show them that humans never fight the same way twice. Elena's ships suddenly transformed their entire configuration. What had been sleek fighters became something that looked like mechanical spiders. Their weapons switched from energy beams to projectiles that existed in multiple dimensions at once. The Devourers, which had consumed hundreds of civilizations, suddenly found themselves being consumed instead. Human weapons did not just destroy them, they converted them into useful materials. The darkness that had been their strength became fuel for human technology. Within hours, the Devourer swarm was gone. The refugee fleet was safe. But the real shock came when the human legion began salvaging the battlefield. Where other species saw empty space, humans found resources. They collected the destroyed Devourers and began breaking them down at the molecular level. Within minutes, they were using the alien matter to build new weapons and repair their ships. Impossible, Zixathara whispered. How did you learn to do that? Marcus turned to her, his enhanced eyes glowing softly in the dim light. We learned from our history. Humans have always been good at taking what our enemies use against us and making it our own. We adapt, we overcome. We survive. The ambassador realized she was looking at the result of 3 centuries of human evolution, guided by one simple principle: become better at war than anyone else in the universe. The Devourers have been consuming the galaxy for over a year, she said. You destroyed this swarm in hours. How? Because, Marcus said simply, while you were building a civilization, we were building an army. While you were making peace, we were preparing for war. While you were hoping for the best, we were planning for the worst. He gestured toward the display showing the rescued refugees. You asked for our help. But you need to understand something. "We did not come here to save your civilization. We came here to win a war. Everything else is just a bonus." The human legion began moving deeper into enemy territory. Behind them, they left safe zones protected by automated defense systems that would make sure the Devourers could never return. Zixathera watched in amazement as humanity did what no other species had managed. They pushed back the darkness and made it afraid. The human legion did not fight like any species the galaxy had ever seen. While other civilizations used tactics based on honor, efficiency, or overwhelming force, humans used something far more dangerous: imagination. Colonel Diana Reeves stood in the command center of her flagship, watching a battle that should have been impossible. Her fleet was fighting inside a dying star, using the stellar collapse as a weapon against a massive devourer nest. "Temperature readings are off the charts," her science officer reported. "The star will go supernova in 6 hours." "Perfect," Diana replied calmly. "That gives us plenty of time." The other species would have fled from such danger. Humans flew directly into it. Diana's ships were protected by shields made from compressed space-time itself. They could survive inside a star for hours, long enough to plant the devices that would turn the explosion into a directed weapon. The Devourers had made their nest in this system because they thought the dying star would protect them. They were wrong. Humans saw the star not as a danger, but as the galaxy's largest bomb waiting to be aimed. "Charges planted," came the report from her demolition teams. "We can evacuate now." "Not yet," Diana said. "We need to make sure every Devourer in this sector sees what happens next." She opened communications to the entire Human Legion fleet. "All ships, this is Colonel Reeves. Operation Lighthouse is go. Withdraw to minimum safe distance and prepare to record everything." The Devourers sensed the danger too late. As the star began its final collapse, the human devices activated. Instead of exploding in all directions, the supernova became a focused beam of destruction that swept across 3 solar systems. Every Devourer nest in the region was instantly vaporized, but the message was even more important than the destruction. Across the galaxy, other Devourer swarms watched and learned something terrifying. Humans could weaponize stars themselves. General James Crawford was pioneering a different kind of warfare altogether. His approach was so brutal that even other humans questioned it. He deliberately allowed small groups of Devourers to attack his forces, studying how they adapted and evolved. "Sir," his aide said nervously, "the creatures are learning from every encounter. They're getting stronger." "Good," Crawford replied. "Let them adapt to fighting my scouts. When they meet my real army, their adaptations will be useless." Crawford understood something about evolution that other species missed. Adaptation was not always beneficial. If you could control what an enemy adapted to, you could guide their evolution in the wrong direction. His scout teams used primitive weapons and simple tactics. The Devourers adapted to fight against basic technology and straightforward attacks. Then Crawford sent in his real forces, equipped with weapons that worked on completely different principles. The Devourers found themselves perfectly adapted to fight an enemy that no longer existed. Their evolution had become their weakness. The turning point of the war came at the Nexus Cluster, where the largest concentration of Devourers had gathered. The creatures had consumed 7 star systems and were using them as a staging ground for their final assault on the galactic core. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before 50,000 volunteers in the largest human military facility ever built. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were humanity's best and brightest, ready to undergo the final transformation. "The Prometheus protocol will change you forever," Sarah explained. "Your bodies will become living weapons. Your minds will process information faster than quantum computers. You will be able to think and react at speeds that normal humans cannot imagine." She paused, looking at the faces of the volunteers. They ranged from teenagers barely old enough to serve to veterans of 100 battles. All of them knew they might not survive the process. All of them volunteered anyway. "But understand this," Sarah continued. "Once the transformation is complete, you can never go back. You will be something new, something that has never existed before. You will be humanity's ultimate weapon, but you will no longer be entirely human." Not a single volunteer stepped back. The transformation took place in chambers that existed partly outside normal space. Human scientists had learned to manipulate the basic forces of reality itself. The volunteers went in as humans and emerged as something that had no name. Their bodies became perfect fighting machines. Their minds connected to quantum processing networks that spanned entire star systems. They could think collectively when needed, but retain their individual personalities. They were still human in spirit, but their capabilities were godlike. The enhanced humans called themselves the Prometheus Legion. When they arrived at the Nexus cluster, the Devourers learned what true fear meant. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The Prometheus Legion did not use ships or weapons in any traditional sense. They became weapons themselves, moving through space as if it were air, fighting creatures the size of moons with their bare hands. Captain Marcus Torres, now enhanced beyond recognition, grappled with a devourer that was trying to consume an entire planet. His body had become something between flesh and energy, capable of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "This one is trying to phase into hyperspace," he reported to his team, cutting off its escape route. Marcus reached into dimensions that normal matter could not touch, grabbing the creature's essence and dragging it back into normal space where the rest of the Legion could destroy it. The enhanced humans did not just fight the Devourers. They hunted them. When a creature tried to flee, the Legion followed it across dimensions, through time, into spaces that had no physical laws. There was nowhere the Devourers could hide. Colonel Elena Vasquez led a team that specialized in something even more terrifying than direct combat. They had learned to turn the Devourers' own hunger against them. Using weapons that existed purely as concepts, they made the creatures consume themselves. "Target acquired," Elena reported as she faced a devourer the size of a space station, initiating paradox cascade. Her weapon did not fire energy or projectiles. Instead, it convinced the devourer that it was both hunter and prey simultaneously. The creature's own nature tore it apart as it tried to devour itself. The other species watched from their refugee fleets as humanity demonstrated capabilities that seemed like magic. Humans had become beings of pure will, able to impose their desires on reality through sheer determination. "How is this possible?" Zix Thara asked Admiral Chen as they watched the battle from the command ship. "Because we never accepted that anything was impossible," Sarah replied. "When you told us the Devourers could not be killed, we decided you were wrong. When physics said certain things could not be done, we changed physics. When the enemy adapted to our weapons, we became weapons ourselves." The battle for the Nexus cluster ended with something unprecedented in galactic history. The Devourers did not just retreat, they surrendered. For the first time since their arrival, the creatures that had consumed hundreds of civilizations simply stopped fighting and fled. But the Legion was not finished. They had learned where the Devourers came from, and they were going to end this war at its source. "All units," Admiral Chen broadcast to the entire human Legion, "prepare for dimensional assault. We're taking the fight to their home realm." The enhanced humans of the Prometheus Legion stood, ready to do something no other species had even attempted: invade the dimension where the Devourers were born. The final phase of the war was about to begin, and humanity was bringing weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics themselves. The dimensional barrier tore open like wounded flesh as Colonel Elena Vasquez led the first human assault into the Devourer's home realm. What her enhanced senses found on the other side challenged everything the galaxy thought they knew about reality itself. This was not a place that followed normal physical laws. Here, darkness had weight and substance. Pain existed as a physical force. The very concept of hunger had become a living, breathing entity that fed on existence itself. "Environmental readings are impossible," her science officer reported. His voice strained through the quantum link. "Physics here operates on pure malevolence. The fundamental forces are twisted into shapes that shouldn't exist." Elena's enhanced body adapted in real time to the hostile environment. Her skin became something between metal and living tissue. Her lungs learned to breathe energy instead of air. Her mind expanded to process the alien geometries that surrounded them. "That's what makes us human," she replied. "We adapt to anything." Behind her, the assault fleet emerged from the dimensional gateway. Human ships that had been designed to survive inside stars found themselves struggling against forces that attacked the very concept of existence. But they held together, protected by technology that humans had built by refusing to accept the word impossible. The Devourer's home realm was vast beyond measure. Creatures the size of planets drifted through spaces that folded in on themselves. These were not the small scouts that had invaded the galaxy. These were the source, the original devourers from which all others had spawned. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from her command ship as her scouts reported what they found. The realm was not just a place. It was a weapon designed to consume other dimensions. The devourers had not invaded the galaxy by accident. They had been created specifically to destroy it. Who would build something like this? She asked her enhanced science team. The answer came from deep scans of the realm's structure. Hidden at its center was evidence of another civilization, one that had existed long before the current galaxy was born. They had created the devourers as the ultimate weapon, designed to consume their enemies completely. But something had gone wrong. The weapon had turned on its creators, consuming them as well. Now it continued to feed, driven by hunger that had become its own reason for existence. The original builders are gone, reported Dr. James Harrison, his mind enhanced to process information at quantum speeds. But their control systems are still active. If we can reach them, we might be able to shut down the entire realm. The mission changed from destruction to something far more complex. The humans had to fight their way through a dimension of living nightmares to reach ancient alien technology that might not even work anymore. General Marcus Torres, his body now more energy than matter, led the spearhead assault. His team moved through landscapes that changed based on the observers' fears. Buildings made of crystallized screams, rivers of liquid despair, skies that rained pure malevolence. Stay focused on the mission, he told his soldiers. Don't let this place get into your heads. Remember what we're fighting for. The enhanced humans pushed forward, their minds protected by technological shields that converted hostile thoughts into useful energy. Where other species would have been driven insane, humans found ways to weaponize the realm's own malevolence against it. Captain Diana Reeves discovered that the twisted physics could be turned into advantages. Her team learned to use the realm's hatred as a power source. They converted fear into protective fields. They turned the very concepts of pain and suffering into weapons against the creatures that lived here. The enemy uses this environment because they think it makes them stronger, Diana reported. They're wrong. It makes us stronger too. The deeper they went, the more dangerous the devourers became. These ancient creatures had evolved in this twisted realm for millions of years. They could manipulate reality through pure will, creating weapons from crystallized nightmares and armor from compressed darkness. But humans had spent 3 centuries learning to fight impossible enemies. Every time the devourers adapted, humanity adapted faster. When the creatures attacked with weapons made of pure concept, humans created shields from weaponized hope. When the enemies tried to drive them insane with fear, humans turned that fear into fuel for even greater determination. The battle reached its climax when Elena's team found the control center at the realm's heart. It was a structure that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously, built by minds that thought in ways no current species could understand. The original builders were trying to create the perfect weapon, Elena reported as her enhanced mind interfaced with the ancient systems. Something that could consume any enemy completely, leaving nothing behind. They succeeded too well. The control systems were still active, but they had been corrupted by millions of years of exposure to the realm's malevolence. The original shutdown commands had been twisted into something that would make the devourers even stronger. We can't use their controls, Elena realized. We need to build our own. Working with technology that existed purely as thought, the enhanced humans began constructing a new control system from scratch. They used their own enhanced minds as processing cores, creating a network that could think faster than the ancient alien computers. But the devourers sensed what they were trying to do. Every creature in the realm converged on the control center, determined to stop the humans from ending their eternal feast. The final battle was fought not with weapons, but with pure will. Humans who had transcended their original biology faced creatures that were hunger given form. Reality itself became the battlefield as both sides tried to impose their vision of existence on the other. Admiral Chen found herself face to face with the prime devourer, the original creature from which all others had spawned. It was not a physical being but a concept made real, the idea of consuming everything that existed. You cannot stop us. The creature spoke directly into her mind. We are inevitable. We are the end of all things. Maybe, Sarah replied, her enhanced consciousness expanding to match the creature's vast presence. But we're human. We specialize in doing things that are supposed to be impossible. The battle between them took place on levels that normal minds could not understand. They fought with weapons made of pure logic, shields constructed from determination, and attacks powered by the will to protect others. Around them, the rest of the human legion held the line against countless devourers, while Elena's team finished building the new control system. Human ships exploded and were instantly rebuilt by technology that treated matter and energy as interchangeable resources. Enhanced soldiers died and were immediately restored by backup, consciousness stored in quantum networks. Humans had become something beyond death itself, beings that could continue fighting even when their bodies were destroyed. The breakthrough came when Elena realized the fundamental flaw in the original builder's design. They had tried to create a weapon that could consume anything, but they had forgotten about something that could not be consumed: the human refusal to give up. All units, Elena broadcast across the quantum network, initiate the Hope Protocol. Show them what humans do when everything is hopeless. The enhanced humans stopped trying to fight the realm's malevolence and instead embraced something the devourers could not understand or consume: the absolute determination to protect others, no matter the cost. Hope became a weapon more powerful than any technology. Love for the innocent people they were protecting became armor that no devourer could penetrate. The simple human refusal to surrender became a force that began rewriting the realm's fundamental laws. The prime devourer screamed as it felt its realm beginning to collapse. For the first time in millions of years, it experienced something it had forgotten existed: fear. Impossible, it gasped as Admiral Chen's will began overwhelming its own. Nothing can consume the consuming force. You're right, Sarah replied. Nothing can consume you. But we're not trying to consume you. We're trying to heal you. The final command Elena input into the control system was not a weapon or a shutdown order. It was something far more human: forgiveness. Instead of destroying the devourers, the humans were going to cure them of their endless hunger. The realm began to transform, its malevolent physics shifting toward something that could support life instead of consuming it. The war was almost over, but the hardest part was yet to come. The silence was absolute. For the first time in 18 months, no devourer moved anywhere in the galaxy. The creatures that had consumed hundreds of civilizations simply stopped, their endless hunger finally satisfied not by consumption, but by something they had never experienced: peace. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in what had once been the devourer's home realm, watching as the twisted dimension slowly transformed into something that could support life. The malevolent physics were healing, becoming laws that encouraged growth instead of destruction. Status report, she requested through the quantum network that connected all enhanced humans. The responses came from across the galaxy. The devourer fleets had simply dissolved, their component creatures reverting to forms of energy that dispersed harmlessly into space. The consumed worlds could not be restored, but no more would be lost. The war was over. Humanity had won. But as Sarah looked around at her transformed soldiers, she realized the victory had come at a price that would reshape the galaxy forever. Colonel Elena Vasquez materialized beside her, her form shifting between solid matter and pure energy. The dimensional assault had changed all of them in ways that went beyond the original enhancements. They were still human in their hearts and minds, but their bodies and capabilities had evolved into something entirely new. The gateway is collapsing, Elena reported. We have maybe an hour before the dimensional barrier seals permanently. Sarah nodded. Most of the human legion was already returning to normal space, but many would never be able to return to normal human society. The enhanced soldiers who had fought in the realm of twisted physics found that regular reality felt thin and incomplete to their expanded senses. Sir, came a transmission from Captain Marcus Torres. We're receiving communications from the Galactic Council. They want to know our terms for peace, Sarah almost laughed. Peace terms. As if humanity had been fighting for conquest rather than survival of the galaxy itself. Tell them we'll speak with them soon, she replied. But first, we have other matters to attend to. The return journey to Council space took only hours with human dimensional drive technology. But Sarah used that time to speak with her soldiers about what came next. Many of the enhanced humans had been fundamentally changed by their experiences. They could no longer exist comfortably in normal space for extended periods. We saved the galaxy, she told them in a gathering that existed across multiple dimensions simultaneously. But we can never truly be part of it again. The question is, what do we do now? The answers varied. Some wanted to continue exploring the outer dimensions they had discovered. Others felt called to guard the dimensional barriers, making sure no new threats could emerge from unknown realms. A few wanted to try returning to normal human life, despite the difficulties they would face. But all of them agreed on one thing. They had no regrets about what they had sacrificed. When the human Legion fleet arrived at the rebuilt council chambers, they found representatives from every surviving species waiting for them. The crystalline Vorthak, the energy-based Alteans, the plant-like Weavens who had somehow survived in hidden colonies. All of them had come to witness humanity's moment of triumph. Ambassador Zixthara stood at the center of the great chamber, her crystal form shining with emotions that human sensors could read as easily as words. Gratitude, shame, hope, and fear swirled within her translucent body. People of Earth, she began, her voice carried across the galaxy. The Council offers you anything you desire. Territory, technology, resources, knowledge, all of it is yours by right of conquest and salvation. Sarah materialized in the chamber, her enhanced form drawing gasps from the assembled aliens. She looked like a human, but her presence seemed to extend into dimensions they could not see. When she spoke, her words carried harmonics that touched the minds of every listener. The galaxy offers us anything we want, Sarah repeated thoughtfully. That's generous considering you spent 3 centuries denying us everything we needed. The alien representatives shifted nervously. They had feared this moment. The reckoning when humanity demanded payment for the years of isolation and the recent salvation. But, Sarah continued, we didn't do this for rewards. We didn't fight the Devourers to gain territory or technology. We fought them because people were dying, and we had the power to stop it. She gestured to the enhanced humans who had accompanied her. Each one was a living weapon that could reshape reality through will alone. Together they possessed more power than most civilizations could imagine. You want to know our terms? Here they are. We want nothing from you. The silence that followed was profound. Every species in the galaxy had expected humanity to demand compensation, territory, or subjugation of their former captors. None had expected this. Nothing, Zixthara asked in confusion. Nothing, Sarah confirmed. We are not conquerors. We are not empire builders. We are simply humans who did what needed to be done. She turned to address the full assembly, her enhanced voice reaching every corner of the galaxy through quantum communication networks. For 3 centuries, you feared us because you thought we were too violent, too unpredictable, too dangerous to join your civilization. You were right about the dangerous part, but you misunderstood what that danger meant. Sarah paused, allowing her words to sink in. We are dangerous to your enemies, not to you. We are dangerous to those who would harm the innocent, destroy the beautiful, or consume the good things in this universe. That is what human violence really is, the willingness to fight against those who would destroy what we love. The enhanced humans began to disperse as she spoke. Some simply faded from normal space, returning to the dimensional realms they now called home. Others activated cloaking systems that made them invisible to conventional sensors. A few gathered around small spacecraft that would take them to the galactic rim. Where are you going? Zixthara called out in something approaching panic. Surely you will stay and help us rebuild. The galaxy doesn't need us anymore, Sarah replied gently. The Devourers are gone. The threat is ended. You can rebuild your civilization without our interference. But that wasn't entirely true, and everyone in the chamber knew it. The enhanced humans were scattering to become guardians, protectors, and explorers. They would watch from the shadows, ready to respond to threats that normal species could not handle. Some of us will return to Earth and try to live normal lives, Sarah explained. Others will explore the spaces between dimensions, making sure no new threats emerge. A few will stay in normal space, though you may never see them unless you truly need their help. Captain Torres approached the quantum communication array that connected to Earth. His message would reach humanity's homeworld instantly, carried by technology that treated distance as an outdated concept. Earth Command, this is the Human Legion. Mission accomplished. The galaxy is safe. We're coming home. But even as he spoke, Torres knew that home would never be the same for any of them. They had become something beyond normal humanity. They were legends now. Stories that would be told across the galaxy for generations to come. Dr. Elena Vasquez made her own announcement to the assembled council. Before we leave, there's something you should know. We've left defense systems throughout the galaxy. They're invisible, automatic, and will respond to threats that conventional forces cannot handle. Consider them our gift to you. What she didn't mention was that these systems were more than just weapons. They were teachers, designed to gradually help other species develop their own abilities to defend against exotic threats. Humanity would not be the galaxy's permanent guardians. They would help others become strong enough to guard themselves. Admiral Chen prepared to deliver her final message to the galaxy. When she spoke, her words were carried to every inhabited world, every refugee camp, every species that had survived the war. People of the galaxy, she began, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Legion. The war is over. You are safe. The Devourers will never return. She paused, looking out at the stars that were finally free from the shadow of consumption. We know that many of you fear us now. We have become something that your species cannot fully understand. But remember this, we are still human. We still care about the same things humans have always cared about. We still want to protect the innocent, defend the weak, and ensure that good people can live in peace. Her form began to fade as she prepared to return to dimensional space. You may never see us again. But know that we are still out there watching, waiting, ready to answer if the galaxy ever calls for help again. We are humanity's children, and we will never stop protecting what we love. The last image the galaxy saw of the Human Legion was Admiral Chen's gentle smile before she faded from normal space entirely. In the years that followed, the galaxy rebuilt itself. New civilizations rose from the ashes of the old. Art, science, and culture flourished as never before. The fear of consumption was replaced by hope for the future. But sometimes when threats emerged that conventional forces could not handle, help would arrive from nowhere. A problem would simply be solved, a danger would vanish, or a miracle would occur exactly when it was needed most.